Well, hello, everyone. I got Brad here.
Brad in the wood shop.
Brad in the wood shop. He's taking us out back to the woodshed. So how's it going?
Guess what? I just finished my build.
So you're done. Just got to go to the wax dipper.
Yeah, I got to do some wrapping and load the trailer and go to the dipper.
But it's done.
It's done. It is finished.
I would stand up, but then I'll go out of camera. But it's a standing ovation.
Oh, I sure.
Or should I do the golf clap?
Yeah, golf clap. Yeah, it's going to be so nice to not only recover the time but recover the space in the shop and the other buildings stuff where I have all the equipment, undercover. I can't just leave it sitting outside. It'd kind of make a mess of it. Todd, Loma Vista Todd.
What's up, gentlemen?
From Clovis, California.
Yep.
Yeah, it really feels good. Really
So,
feels
yeah,
good.
I know you've been busy. You got up at the ass crack of dawn and went out to Mr. Stepler's place.
I did. It's been a long day.
And Todd's been out in his bee yard today.
Yeah.
My yard is my bee yard, right? So I was essentially in my bee yard, but selling honey. So it's the same time of the year. 3 very different things happening in the bee yards, right? So that's kind of an interesting perspective. And the more that I think about things and collaborate with my friends, boy, the light bulbs just go on, right? It's like synopsis is just firing everywhere. And it gives you hopefully it's giving us a market advantage. I'll put it that way, because we're all going to make mistakes in the bee yard and do things, but look, okay. And me too, it happens. But the thing is that we've talked about so many different things this year leading up to this point. And I mean, the creamed honey, marketing of honey, something simple like switching a label, right? Or something like that may not seem like much when you're first doing it, right? Walker Bee Ranch and the little dippers I had and everything, this thing, very plain, very basic, didn't pop, didn't do any of that stuff, right? And so I want to kind of talk at least the first bit, because I know Todd's not going to be on here entirely too long, but we've been talking over the last several days about creamed honey. And Brad, that's your thing.
Well, I admit I'm not the creamed honey expert. I have a buddy do it in his plant.
But you have
I say plant. You know what? His plant. He's a very small operation. His plant isn't as big as my wood shop, right? It's very small. He's a very small operator, but he does that and he's very good at it. So he does a really nice product for me.
But when you think about it, though, creamed honey is a thing for you. Everybody you talk to has already tasted creamed honey.
Oh yeah, it's very common here, and I think one of the reasons is very, very common is with canola nectar, which is very prominent here. Canola doesn't stay liquid, so it has to be creamed, and it makes a beautiful creamed honey. The texture of canola creamed honey is second to none. It's very, very nice.
Well, hopefully, are you guys sharing this out on your channels or anything? Sharing the wealth today?
I didn't click the share.
Thank you.
So, creamed honey here is an anomaly. Nobody has it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it. I did that live stream today, and people are coming up. Have you ever tried creamed honey? No, what's that? Great. Glad you asked. Like I wouldn't,
You never ask.
Yes. So you ask about it, and the main thing is, and it costs a little bit because you got your jars and your honey and all that's some of your profit, right? But you will profit zero if you don't get them to try it, because they won't even buy it. Nah, I'm good. Let me get some of this that I know, the safe stuff.
Yep.
But you got to figure they already know that. They know that information. That's why they're there in front of you to begin with.
Yeah.
The liquid stuff. So if you don't want to sell any honey or you just want to sell your everyday stuff, just come up and say, hey, thanks for your money. Have a good day.
Yeah.
And you'll always stay where you're at. I mean, you could grow. You could sell everything out. But then what increases is not your profit. It's your labor. Because
for sure. For sure.
You have to grow your colonies, harvest, which is more sweat equity, more boxes, more frames, more bees, more of everything. And it also fluctuates greatly, right? Like you had 170 colonies going in.
I'm busted. Yeah. Well, it's not proven to be a great crop this year. You know, I'll rebuild the apiary, but the crop is not going to be that great. Thankfully, I had an excellent crop last year. Boy, honey sales have been really strong though, and that inventory is dwindling pretty fast.
Well, we had we have a saying, and it's not the one I told you earlier. I'm going to keep it cleaner than that.
Yeah.
But it's a saying here: sit in one hand and wish in the other, and see which one fills up first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you have to do it. Whatever it is, you got to do it. Yeah. And Brad and I got cut off in a conversation earlier, and I was getting complimented, and I hated to have to go. And do you remember what I'm talking about when you're saying how I just...
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to let you explain that so I can get my full compliment. And then usually there's a but that comes on there that trashes you, but I'll let you go.
Do you mean our conversation when I was just saying that you had that's a model. That's a really good model for you. You know, you're obviously very good at creaming honey. You're very good at the flavors. I've tasted your flavors, and man, there is nothing wrong with what you're doing. So that's just a really good model, and that kind of thing. There's a word for that. It's actually two words, but when you take that honey, you squeeze that honey out of the honeycomb and put it in a jar and serve it up to the customer. That's just honey, right? You cream that, that's value added. You put flavors in that, that's value added. You do whatever you do after that, that's called value added, and it adds value, and that value is the price. And you know, you just add value to your product. I add value to my product because I don't sell it in a barrel. I put it in a jar ready for the customer, right?
It's the fresh hot apple pie, right? It's building that value. What is it about you that stands out from every other honey on the market? Why would they buy from you?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to sit back, and it takes time. It's taken me 6 years to get my label different, right? And start creaming and make those adjustments. But you were talking about what I was specifically meaning is when you were saying how I just did whatever it needed to be done.
Oh yeah, there was, you know, you don't have a lot of excuses ever. When I say, you know, so how did it go, Bob? And you tell me the whole story, and you relive the frustration all over again. But it's not, well, I went to print my labels and my printer doesn't work, so that's the end of the story. No, it's not the end of the story. I went to the store and got a new toner for my printer, and that wasn't the problem. So I went to another store and I bought a brand new dang printer and got my labels printed. I got over that. I climbed over that hump, and I fixed that. And I'm not going to just let whatever little things fall in my way and stop my progress, kind of thing. So, that I like.
But when you come back to the value added product, and maybe I didn't make it clear on the apple pie video because I had a lot of customers that just randomly, I didn't start the video with anybody there, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden I had 5 customers show up and one afterwards, which is great. I mean, I had $675 sales day today. I had a $200 sales day yesterday.
Yeah.
So $875 over 2 days. Now here's the kicker, and you guys will understand this when I say I make twice as much money on creamed honey. Yes and no. I'm still making $10, but they're getting half as much honey. So your honey then goes further, which makes you make more money on your existing honey. So hopefully, that explains a little bit better, because I think differently than a lot of people. And Todd, we talked about dollar cost average.
So that's true.
Yeah.
It's dollar cost averaging, right? So
yeah, for sure. And that's exactly, what to do. If you say you want to average $5 a pound, then, or $10 a pound or whatever, you can have some products that get you $20 a pound. You can even have some lost leaders that you make $3 a pound.
Right.
Just if that factors into your whole equation to get that dollar cost averaging.
Well, you figure if you're getting $20 a pound for specialty honey, and you're getting $10 a pound for your regular honey, and you sell one of each of them, well, you've averaged $15 a pound.
Right.
And,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with $10 a pound in my book. My honey is expensive at $4 a pound.
But
in my area.
I mean, this is kind of how the thought process goes, right? We're having some good sales day. Now, we've been kicking around cream and honey since last year, right? I bought the KitchenAid mixer. Todd is using the bucket and the stir stick. And we've seen Brian at Flower Street start with the buckets and then get a creamer and escalating his business. But I had several people today that said, this is great. I sold more creamed honey today than I did all of last fall when I did it. I sold 40 jars today. That's
wild.
And not only that, some people came up, and here's where the kicker is, the fresh hot apple pie aspect of this thing is when someone comes to get this is pound and a half, but a 1 pound jar of honey, and then you say, have you tried creamed honey? Well, no. Well, come on, I've got it out here. It's free. Let's just try some and let you experience creamed honey for the first time. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I want one of these peanut butter ones. Okay, great. So you now double sale, right? One guy that was on the live video that I did, you have to go back and watch it if you didn't catch it, but he had 4 jars of honey and he pulled out $100 bill. And I said, well, if you get another one, I can just give you $50 back in change. Yeah. I would have given him $50 back in change anyway, but he bought the extra jar.
Yeah.
And it was all creamed honey.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
So what was different about today? A couple things. First thing is I had the table set up, right? The weather's been bad. It's been raining on the weekends. I've had to do bees and stuff like that. So I didn't have the time to just sit out there. So when I don't have the table up, all of my creamed honey's in the cooler, right? It's in the refrigerator, just sitting there. They're coming for regular honey. So for me to have them stand out there while I'm pulling 6 jars out and taster spoons and everything else, it wasn't it's not an opportune moment, right? But now, if they come to the table and they taste it, then there's a chance that they'll have it. Now, that goes back to what you were saying, Brad, about your worried about taking care of your customers. Once you start down a path with honey, you have to stay down that path or you're going to lose your creamed honey. Now I have to keep creamed honey.
See, because I am who I am, I take that to a little bit of a different slant on that. I don't like change. When I find a product I like that product. That's my product. I like to buy that product. Don't get me started on Hive Tools. And when that changes, I think, I almost feel sometimes when that product disappears or changes and now I don't like it as much, I feel abandoned by the producers of that product. And so I project that onto my customers, even though they may not be as neurotic as I am in that way. But to me, when I get them hooked on my product and they love my product and they come back time and time again,
Right.
It's not just I'm going to lose a customer if I run out of honey. I'm going to disappoint that person and maybe possibly upset them, cause some frustration and some feelings of abandonment or something, and that bothers me. So that's that's really my connection to that customer, is to be responsible for producing that product that I've asked them to fall in love with.
Right.
Have. Because it was, I'm the one that started it, right? So I've got a responsibility to hold up my end of that bargain. Todd,
you can chime in anytime, man. We're not trying to.
Yeah, you guys are on a roll.
But I'll tell you what, we've had the discussion about Facebook and people not liking Facebook for whatever reason. I get it. There's a ton of people on there I totally don't agree with a lot of stuff they say. Most of what they say, I don't care for.
You don't need to get involved in the whole Facebook,
It's a tool. That's
culture.
All it is a tool.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I made, before I went live on Facebook, on YouTube, I went live on Facebook because guess what? Those are my people that are right around me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm out here today. It's a beautiful day. We got the honey set up. Boom. And you'd be surprised how many people show up here and they're like, wow, you don't get any more fresh than it's like they've got a tap on the beehive, right? It's like, it doesn't get any more fresh than this.
You got your honey table and your bees are in the background. It's like,
and half of them are on my bees, are on my honey jar. But it's, you can gain some knowledge if you look for it off of Facebook, like that live video. Someone in my circle, in my community group, shared that out to their people. Now, people that probably don't know me are getting exposed to, hey, this guy has the honey. She said, I sent you a screenshot. Let me see if I can see what it said, because it said something to the effect of, he's the real deal. Where is it? To Facebook friends in Columbia area, South Carolina. This guy, Bob Walker's the real deal. Truly local honey. He is selling his honey today in his front yard at, put my address, and explained, hey, it's several houses beyond the ball fields at the school. Check out this video. And that was my live video. And then it said, local honey is good for you. Good for you. And it don't get any more local than this. Right. And then another one, when I send the pictures out, like the post with the photos, someone said, I love your label. And another guy that was here, he's from Philadelphia originally, but been down here his whole life. But when he started tasting the honeys, he bought 3 strawberry honeys. And he's like, the post said, this strawberry honey is fire. I mean, urban slang for really good, right? But
Not
if
urban.
it's fire, you should try the Reaper.
Yeah. But it's that community validation through social media.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do any of that, right? I'm talking to my camera. I don't see anybody. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not hurting anything.
It's not costing you anything.
And it's not costing me anything.
Well, nothing is free. That's not.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that I think this year I'm going to be optimistic, which is something that I'm usually this will be the best honey year I've had. And I'm doing that hopefully by pushing the point, right? And when I say pushing the point, those people are coming to your table. They already know about your regular honey. It's honey. It's regular honey. When they go to the grocery store, they don't know where the hell that honey comes from. They know that's your honey, and they're coming to help you. But what else can you offer them that they can't get anywhere else? And that's when you stop. Don't talk about the runny honey. They know about that honey. Talk about your cut comb, hey, you see this Ross round? Those bees took this long to fill this up in this special container just for you. You know, that type of
exactly. That's the way I describe it. When well, what's that? People, I'll show them, comb honey, and what's that? That's the natural honeycomb that the bees made. The bees have put the honey in the comb, and nobody's ever touched it. I just cut it out of the frame and put it in that little tray. And if you got a Ross round or something, even better, because the bees made it in the container. Right. Nobody's ever touched that. That's between you and the bees. That is absolutely the most natural way you can eat honey. And people, that's story. And that's something else I was saying. People love the story. Even if they're just buying the regular honey, I got a guy, right? Everybody wants to have a guy. So right. I got a guy, and he lives down at, whatever, and I go to his front yard, and the bees are right there. You wouldn't believe it. And one day I got stung or something. It's a whole story about the whole thing, right? People love story. And to be able to get that honey from the beekeeper's hand means the world to people. That's the story, and that's what you're going after.
I equated this today like going to the U-Pick strawberry place. You can buy strawberries at every grocery store here. Those same strawberries from the same company, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's going to the guy.
Yeah.
And getting that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's absolutely. I mean, I tried U-Pick, for the honey yard, but it didn't go over. So
you harvest honey.
Yeah. I don't know what went wrong, but it just wasn't a hit.
And I mean, it's so I'm imagining at this. Yeah, they do like a human connection, right? If they got a question, like one thing with the honey, the creamed honey, the strawberries specifically, because that was the first one. My spiel was there's no syrups added to that. That is freeze-dried, organic powdered strawberry, real strawberry. It's not any artificial flavoring or anything like that. And when they taste it, they're like, this is really good,
And it is really good.
And hope. But they have a local section as well. But the problem with the local section honey is it's not very well maintained, right? The person that comes in and fills the shelf, or I don't know if they go through the warehouse or whatever, but if it crystallizes on the shelf, there's nobody pulling that off and putting a fresh bottle out and taking that back and putting it in the warmer to decrystallize it, to bring it back and resell it to them. They're not working their business. They're just filling shelves.
Sometimes if I happen to be in the grocery store where my honey is, and I'll walk by my honey display because I want to check and see if they need more honey. Because if they need more honey, I want to sell them more honey. Right. I'll bring it in. But if I see a customer in there looking at the honey and whatnot, I'll say, hey, that's a really good honey. Oh, is it? They say, yeah, because I'm the beekeeper and that's the honey I produce. People love that stuff. I'll take one of those home and they'll tell that story for a week. It's like, yeah, I met the beekeeper in the store, right?
Right.
And that connection with where their food is coming from. People love that. And I love giving it to them because it's so little effort, right? To give
it's
that.
Not even a hard sell.
No. And you don't have to sell it.
People.
Just tell them the story. That's all. Yeah, this is, and I always turn the jar over and I say, you look at that 3-digit number. I lot code every one of my packing runs as to the year and the yard. So I turn that over and I say, okay, so this is 2023 honey, and that came from my second yard, and that's over here, and this is the kind of forage in there and whatnot. People love that stuff.
I mean, I liked hanging out and talking to people anyway. Literally, my day was sitting on my tailgate until people showed up. It wasn't harder than that, you know. And then when they show up, I'm kind of excited to see somebody, so I start talking with them, you know. And it was so easy. It was like shooting fish in the barrel. It was so easy, so easy. I mean, if you live in a neighborhood and you don't have a local honey sign sitting on in your front yard,
you're flushing money down the toilet. You're watching it flow by your doorstep.
And I don't know if you heard in that video, I told everyone, "Oh, we saw you out here, so we wanted to stop. I've been driving by, but I just saw you out here. I live here. You don't have to see me out here. Yeah. You can pull in my driveway and knock on the door, and you will get honey.
Get your honey. Yeah, for sure.
It's
just don't drive in the bee yard."
Yeah, well, they do that anyway. I mean, they were backed up. They pull in just enough off the road so they can be lazy and walk out, but they block the entrance, right? I had 5 cars trying to get in at the same time. But it's... You
get trapped in there.
Oh, it was... Yeah, one guy, he's like, "I'll wait until we did the whole taste test and everything, then he could pull out." But it was a... it's just... Everybody... Now, it's hard for me to not go to a gas station and say, "Oh, you're the honey guy," you know, or...
So, you know... Alex brings something up there. He says, "My home's on a dead end. Nobody drives by." And I'm not so different. I'm not near I'm not right on a main road where people, you know, are just driving by necessarily. Certainly not people who aren't just local and know where I am. And I have a lot of local people who come and buy honey, but it's not just random people. "Oh, look, there's a honey sign," right? Generally not. But the point I want to make is not every model is going to work for every person. What you need to do is find the model that works for you and try things. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You've got to try lots of things that aren't going to work. And even try things that you're sure aren't going to work, because you might be surprised. Right?
I saw honey in a car dealership yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Show up at a car dealership with a box of honey. It's
the salespeople. First of all, I have to preempt that with one of the salespeople actually said he needed honey. He did not know I was coming with honey yesterday when he said it. But it was rainy, crappy day, and he said he needed honey. Great, every time I go there, it was usually about $100 with just regular honey, and. But yesterday, guess what? When I walked inside, I had the spoons in the box and all my creamed honeys and 1 jar of runny honey that the guy wanted, right? Everybody else was like, "Hey, come up here and test this out." He was talking to me. He had 2 customers in his office, and he's talking to me, and the customers are asking me about the honey. And I'm like, "Hey, come on out and have a taste test. It's free. Just taste it." You know, and it was kind of crazy, but $220 later, I'm out the door. You know, it's like, I did give a bottle of honey for the owner of the dealership, but
and that's the key, is to go in that door not knowing what's going to happen and expecting nothing to happen, but don't let that show in your face, right?
Right.
Make it look like you've got a box of gold bars, right? And just do things, and you'll do stuff and it won't work. That's okay. You know, I used to go to stores. I would hit up all the little grocery stores, and I had a really good response. I would I would carry, you know, get relationships with most of them, but sometimes they just say no, and sometimes they'd say, "Sell me a box of honey," and then maybe they wouldn't buy another one, maybe they wouldn't order again, or weren't interested, or whatever. And you know, the little devil whispers at you and says, "Yeah, see, you didn't get in there. They bought 1 box of honey and they didn't keep buying it." But I say to the little devil, I say, yeah, but I just sold an entire box of honey.
Right.
If that's the only box of honey I sell, that's okay because I just sold a whole box of honey.
Right. That's, I mean, I do procrastinate on some stuff. I like to call it prioritize, but you could call it procrastination. And there's some things I'll procrastinate on and some things I absolutely won't. Right. So like you were saying, printer died. I jumped through elbows and assholes to get that fixed so I could print labels to ship stuff out.
Yeah, don't get all, distracted by the little, like, just go right over top of that and keep going toward the goal.
This is how my day went yesterday. It was good. It was a good day, but it had bad elements in it, right? So first things first, go out to the car dealership, $220 in sales. That's good. Get back. There's an order on my computer from Dancing Bee in Canada for Swarm Lure. That's great. And then I go to print the label to ship out that order to Canada, and my printer dies. But I didn't get the shipping label. I only got the customs document, right? So now I'm stuck. So I run and do all that stuff. I come back, but guess what? In the meanwhile, I had 8 orders on Amazon for Swarm Lure. That's great. But my printer's still broken, and that sold me entirely out of Swarm Lure. So now I've got to bottle Swarm Lure like now, because if I don't,
yeah,
the next order that comes in, I'm screwed.
Those are the problems you want. Those are the problems you want. That's me. In March or April, somebody sending me an email or message and saying, "Hey, I like the equipment that I see, on your videos or whatever. Can you build me, 50 pallets?" And I'd say, "No, I can't. I can build you 50 pallets for next season, but that's just the way it is, right?" So it's just air compressor time.
So so with the Swarm Lure being out, well, I'm up till 3:30 in the morning bottling lure up. Well, guess what? Night shift at the packing plant at the labeling facility in my living room with my wife started then. So when I got up this morning, there was no orders. I was like, first time I was ever happy to not see any orders at the moment. And, but then I come in for selling a lot of honey today, and I have orders on Amazon now. I come in and do that. So I wanted to be on Charlie's stream last night. It just didn't work. Just didn't work yesterday. And so, I called Charlie and apologized for not showing up, but explained to him everything that happened. He said, "You were making money and working. I don't hold that against anybody." So
Charlie knows what side of the bread the butter is on.
Man, I'll tell you what. And Brad says it. We were talking about it today, but we'll sit here, even if we're not live, we'll be like this, just chatting and talking bees and life in general or whatever. But in the meanwhile, I'm redesigning labels. I'm doing things, right? I'm not just sitting idle. And I think a lot of times, beekeeping, yes, is a lot of just doing in the bee yard. That's a lot. But honey sales and that income up from the bees is still beekeeping. That's what allows you to pay for expansions.
Well, it's the honey business. And, you said that I drove out to see Ian today, and I did. He's really, really busy, too. So I didn't spend very much time there, but, we spent some time together, and he's got a different model. He doesn't sell direct to customer as a rule. He has a very small direct sale, portion to his business. It's a what do you call? not a convenience, but it's just kind of a service for the locals that he'll sell honey, but sell it all in the barrel, sell it in the trailer, and then that's his model. So then he can use more of his energy than to run a larger operation.
This is probably a good question for Brad because he's in stores.
Yeah.
What kind of percentage does the store usually get?
Oh, okay.
He's giving them 50%. That's way too much.
Way too much. I would say if you're going to start, it's too low, but start at 20%. And if you can land at 30%, you're doing okay.
So 30% would be around $8, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're selling it for $9 and you sell it to the store for $6, then that's 30%.
Well, he says he sells to the smoke shop a $12 jar for $6.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with that model that you've got right there.
You get 9 out of that.
So you figure you're splitting it with them. You've done 100% of the work. You've got the investment in the bottles and labels.
Yeah.
You've got the investment in the bees and equipment, and you're giving them half of your money.
Always frame this that you're partnering with that store, and you can help that store. Go into the store and talk to the person who does the purchasing, and if it's a small store, it'll be the manager, and say things like, introduce yourself. I'm a honey producer, a local honey producer, and I would like the opportunity to drive some traffic into your store because I have a premium product that people are just falling over themselves to get, and I need a better distribution network. So I've chosen your store as part of that network, and I'd like to bring some of my customers into your store because they need to pick up my product. And I mean, you're helping the store then, right?
The other thing is, don't tell them what they have to sell it for. Tell them what you have to have for it, and let them adjust the price to your cost.
They know what they can sell honey for. You don't have to tell them that. And I was taught that it's actually, and I'm in Canada, I was taught that it's actually against the law. I can't tell a store what they have to sell my product for. But I know what kind of margin they want. I know what I sell it for, so that's how I calculate my my wholesale price for the store.
But if you're splitting it 50-50, the store is actually making more money on your honey than you are.
Yeah.
No, way more. You're actually making nothing on your honey at 50%.
Yep. I mean, you're giving it away basically.
You're working for somebody else. Yeah, don't do that. And not only that, but always start high because you can lower a price easy. Raising a price, that's a little harder to do.
They're going to wonder why it went up 20% on them.
Yep. So here's the other things that I was taught. Don't price your product like if you do your calculations, see what kind of margin the store needs, and you say, well, that's $6.50, so I'm going to sell it to the store for $6.50. And just 2 seconds. And so if it comes out to $6.50, that's fine, but make it $6.63. Okay.
Number.
Because they can't remember that price very well. If you make it $6.50 and you make it $6.90, they'll remember that. If you make it $6.62, you can make it $6.78, and they will never know. They will never, they won't pick up on that. Now, having said that, I do tell my customers when I increase my prices. I obviously do, because the store needs to, and again, I frame it this way. I want to tell you that the price is increasing on this such and such a date. I want to make sure that you can protect your margin on the product and, to adjust your price if you choose to do so. But just, little things like that. And again, start high. You can lower it.
So
raising it, different.
Lee says he's selling to the farmer's market at an 85.15. They sell it for 10. He sells it to them for 8.50. So Lee's making the bulk of the money. That's how it should be.
That's good margin. Like that's better than 20%, which is great. Yeah. I was taught 30%, but that seems to be too much. The stores don't take 30% as a rule. They seem to be taking 20 to 25. And I kind of got in hot water, not in hot water, but in a position I didn't want to be in because I took the price I was selling for and I used that for a basis for a 30% margin for the store and then used that as a basis for the wholesale price. And the problem was I overestimated because this is the way I was taught. I took a course on this and it seemed to have been a little bit out of date perhaps. And the store wasn't taking 30%. And they ended up selling the honey for less money than I was selling it for, which I didn't care for at all. It didn't seem to be a problem. It never came up as a problem, but I didn't like that. Somebody drive in my driveway and pay more for my honey that they could get than they could
pass 5 grocery stores to get to you.
Yeah.
And you're getting a better deal at the grocery store. Yeah.
Right. Now, you show up in my driveway, you get pretty well all the time you want, right? You get a tour of the bee yard if it's appropriate season and timing. And if you want, if there's anything special going on, you get that story of actually getting your honey from the beekeeper, from the farm. I got this from the farm, right? This great story. So all of that is value added for the customer. It's not just some generic product off the store shelf.
So Todd.
Yeah.
I've been scouring the interwebs for creamers.
Yeah.
And Hilco's out of stock. Lyson or Better Bee is out of stock on the complete unit. However, you can buy the tank, the heated tank, and the attachment. They have those items separate, which I don't know if they do them in-house or not, but they have them both separate that you could put them together and have the creamer or
is that the 18-gallon one?
The 18-gallon, yeah.
Is it basically the same price?
Maybe within $100 of each other.
Yeah.
Which is probably very.
I gotta drop off here for a bit.
Okay.
I'll try and get back a little bit later on.
All right.
So see everybody. Take care.
Later. So yeah. But I was thinking, we were talking heated creamers. I've got a heated bottler. I don't really need a heated creamer. I need a creamer, but maybe not a heated one.
I'm the opposite.
Brian, I think I've missed my window on those Ross rounds this year. The Ross round hanger. And to be honest with you, I have to find the parts for it because my honey house was organized and for what that means. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I am leaning myself more towards packing.
We talked earlier about that creamer today, and as I said, it's 190. Let's just pretend that 18 gallons is, you could fill it up and still have room on the top. But I did the math, an 18 gallon batch, remember, is a 10-to-1 ratio between honey and seed. So it's 195 pounds of honey and then 21 pounds of seed. Well, you're spending, like for me, price-wise, 195 1-pounders is $1,950. The seed part, if I got it from the prior batch, it's already cooked in the cake, and right. But if it's not, add $210. Well, anyway, the bottom line is this: 18 gallons, you get 16 half-pint jars per gallon. So 16 times 8 is 288 half-pint jars.
16 times 18, right?
What I say? Yeah, 16 times 18. Did I say something different?
You said 8, yeah.
I'm tired. So at my prices, that's almost, that's over $3,400
Paid for the creamer.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm only using 1,950. If I sold 195 1-pound jars, it's only $1,950 compared to $3,400.
Right.
It's
the
second batch is all profit.
Hey, I started creaming last year, sir. Matter of fact, let me I'll paste this up here.
Yeah, get Brian in here. I have to ask him questions about
this
that.
This is Brian's zone here. He likes
Yeah. I need to ask him about that inverter.
Let me make sure I got that pinned.
You and I talked this morning. We both know what we want to do. It's exactly the same, So I think that's the way I'm going to do it.
All right. I think I got it pinned.
I just have to find a place that, you just enlightened me on the inventory situation. Hey, Charlie. So, like Better Be, I can't buy the 18-pound cream or 18-gallon creamer as a unit, but I could buy the device and the tub or
the bottling tank and the creamer attachment.
Yeah.
And that's
wait a minute. So it's not a license. Is it a license?
It's the exact same pieces.
Okay.
They're just come as 2 pieces instead of 1.
I got you. All right.
So
from the same place.
From the same place, yeah, from Better Be. So it's
is it cheaper or more money?
It's a little bit more.
But everybody's out right now. I don't know if license behind the
Here's the thing. Honey pulling season's coming up. Why would you be out of that stuff? Extractors and creamers, that's what people should be buying now in preparation for their honey pull and honey spin.
I wonder if Europe's on the opposite of us, and they make all their equipment for European sales and then let some of it flow over here. I don't know. But actually, Europe can't be that far. What's hilarious is Richard Knoll, when he talks about when his flow starts, when his swarming starts, when all of this starts, it mimics my area exactly the same, like within a week.
Right.
So I don't know if we're on the what is it, the longitude, or is it lateral line or longitudinal line?
It's funny, I saw a video of Hope put out today with his bees robbing out a frame. I still have
in my yard today.
I still have Privet where I'm at, and he's north of me, so it's unusual how things do.
I could foresee a humongous robbing situation, and that's why I am scaling back with my Italians. I don't want Italians. I want carnies. Italians.
I don't know if it's a huge difference. I've got both of them.
And for me, it is. I've seen a humongous difference. And you know where I get my carnies from?
Jose.
Yeah, Jose has good carnies, and they're not as robby as Italians. They just plain fact or not. But yeah, it's out there right now. I told you that my problem is the ants. That's where it starts. The ants take over they don't take over the colony, but they just, one day you'll see one little line of ants going in there. The next day it's an inch wide, and there's like billions going in the hive. Next thing you know, the bees skedaddle, or if a lot of them stick around, they get robbed out, and they get lost or killed by the robbers. So it's just
it's the mafia instinct of the Italians, Blaine says.
It is. It is.
But it's just crazy how, it's one of those things with any equipment or anything you buy. You have to be, for me, I have to be able to justify it paying for itself. Now, it might take a long time, but I have to have that process to be able to say, okay, if I get this machine, it should pay for itself with this amount of time, right? So with a honey extractor, there's people that crush it, right? That costs nothing to crush honey. It costs nothing, really nothing if you get a hand crank extractor. I mean, it's an expense, but not much. You know what I mean? But the thing is, when I went from like a 4 to 8, an 8-frame extractor, 4-frame extractor, whatever it was, I don't even remember now, that the time savings to me made it worth it. I can now, instead of having to take weeks to extract my honey, I can extract my honey in a couple of days or something like that, right? So then it's like, well, how much is my time worth? Okay, well, that's hugely worth it, right? Just like with the creamed honey. Yes, the KitchenAid mixer works perfect if you want to make 5.5 quarts at a time.
How many creamed honeys did you sell yesterday and today?
What's that?
How many creamed honey jars did you sell yesterday and today?
I sold 40 today.
40?
40 creamed honeys today. Well, creamed and hot. Specialty honeys, I sold 40.
And you sold like 15 yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So just the example, the numbers that that's basically 5.23 days. If you had 5 more of these days, that machine's paid off.
Yep.
How much liquid honey, running honey, did you sell?
Today I sold a total of $675 worth of honey.
Yeah, I mean, did you sell
So 25
or 30 pounds?
25 pounds of runny honey. Now that 40, here's the thing. That 40 jars is only 20 pounds of honey.
Mm-hmm.
I made $400 on 20 pounds of honey compared to $275 on 27 pounds of regular honey. So that, that's the mathematical difference there. So you can make your honey last longer. I'm not saying do away with runny honey because that's why people are stopping. That's the Big Mac meal that they're coming for.
The lure.
Mm-hmm.
The hot honeys, the specialty honeys, that's the fresh hot apple pie that they ask you about, or supersizing your French fries, right? That's that. So it the KitchenAid definitely works. The problem with the KitchenAid is you can only do 5.5 quarts at a time on mine, at least with mine. So if you figure it takes 7 days to do a batch, if you've got 6 different varieties, you're looking at 6 weeks to make your honey.
Yeah.
And the difference, if you have a creamer, you can do all of it in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put it at individual pails like Brian does.
Yes.
For the flavor.
Yep. Or you could make that honey and then you put it in the KitchenAid mixer and blend in your flavor in.
Right.
And that way you can make a lot of 5 in it. And, I think I want to say
that's more time efficient.
So 5.5 quarts, I think I forget how many jars it made per. It made a good amount of each flavor. Definitely not a grocery store amount, but it's a honey table amount for sure, And then when it gets to the end, hey, this is the last cream. This is the last one that I'm going to make till the next time I find that flavoring. Get it now if you want it. So
So I apologize to everybody. I just turned on my comments or the comments thing. So I completely forgot to say hello to everybody. So hello, everybody. But I see Catherine says something about ants. And if you go onto eBay and you type in the search bar there, ant barrier / pet food, you will find what I've been using. Everyone.
Yeah, Catherine just talked about that.
Yeah, because those are the only things that work for me. And I did a dumb thing when I moved my bees. I didn't. It's a long deal, and I'm on an organic farm, and you're not supposed to have oil touching dirt at this organic farm. But at one point, I was using bread pans, and I would put a brick on there standing on its end in the bread pan, and I'd fill half of it up with oil, and I'd do it on all four corners of the pallet. Well, last year when it rained, guess what? It washed all the oil out.
You know what someone said they used, and I think I want to say it's the Bugman. Axle grease. Rub that on the post.
Okay.
The way I've seen those used, Todd, is you have a small container for the bottom and a larger one above
To keep the rain out.
If you look what's on eBay, they have a cover. They work great. I've been using them for years. Now, if you use axle grease, if you're in a windy area, get ready because it's going to blow dust up on that grease. It might blow a leaf up on the grease, and the next thing you know, you got a ladder. But
Right.
this thing works great. The only problem is I don't know. It's like I keep all my notes. I think 4 years ago I bought a batch of them, and they were like $5 for a set of 4. Now they're $12.95. So I ordered a couple $100 worth because I already have some. And so when I moved my pallets, I took the bread pans out thinking, oh, I read a thing online about controlling ants with peppermint oil and something else and squirting it around. Well, it does work. If you're out there every single day. I don't have that kind of time. So I'm going back to the oil, the ant barriers, and enough's enough.
Darren said he just used Vaseline on the posts.
Yeah.
Petroleum jelly.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, anything you put on there, it's going to attract or
Stuff sticks to it.
Stuff sticks to it. So believe me, I tried everything. I tried Tanglefoot. That works great. Tanglefoot works awesome until you get twigs and branches blown up against it. Then forget it.
And it's stuck.
Mute yourself, Alex.
Alex, go on eBay and you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll see it. Ant barrier / pet food.
Okay.
It's a cover.
Those handmaids I've seen, like the larger container, like completely overlaps the smaller one. That prevents leaves and dust from getting in.
That's what this one does. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's awesome. It's just they're expensive, and it's some guy down in Los Angeles that buys he buys plastic from some mold injection companies down there, and he takes it home and melts it down and molds. He has molds for these things, and they hold a lot of weight. I think each set can hold over 300 pounds. So it works out good for me. So I have to take a floor jack and jack up each side of the pallet one at a time and slide those things back under on the bricks that I have the pallets laying on now. So
this year's been so crazy here that I haven't experienced that many pests. I had one little nuke that I made that wasn't strong and it got hive beetled out, but the rest of them haven't really had an issue this year. And I don't know if it's because the temperatures have been milder than normal or what, but it's been so far so good. That's what I'm saying. I also have a secret sauce here. So
I'm waiting for mine.
So a new product that they're working on getting the EPA to approve at the moment, but it's the same as Sertan, only it's supposed to be cheaper and natural. So we'll see. Or wax moss. We'll see how that works out.
Blaine's talking about cornstarch, and if you do lay a trail of cornstarch, they'll walk over it, but they'll also collect it. They think it's food, and when they take it back to the hive or a colony, and they combine it with water inside their bodies, they blow up because the cornstarch expands. So, see, my problem is twofold. It's wind, and I'm very limited on what I could use. So diatomaceous earth, I mean, it'll work great till it gets real windy and blows it away. Same with the cornstarch.
Let me see. I'm trying to keep up with these things. If this was a Cayman Reynolds streams, we'd be about $500 in already. Super chats coming for days.
Yeah, be a lighthouse.
Like Oprah Winfrey, and you get a super chat, and you get a super chat, and you get a car, and you get a wagon, but it's hopefully, Alex, we could figure out. We got to get you selling honey. I mean, not a little bit of honey, selling a lot of bit of honey. We got it.
Well, I can sell bulk pretty easy. Well, once bulk comes back, but
bulk is giving it away.
And I had a really nasty surprise in my strawberry field apiary today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, some freaking kid with a VT ATV just rammed one of my hives and knocked it over. So I contacted the landlord, the owner of the field, and I told him about it. He says, well, I have a squash field and there's no public access. So starting Monday, I got to start moving my strawberry field apiary. 3 hives at a time in the tiny car.
Access for you? Huh? Is there access for you?
I'll go look it up first. Because it's the first time something like this happened. And I lucked out. The tracks were fresh. It couldn't have been more than 1 or 2 days. There were cells like pointing sideways in it. So yeah, it's been like that for a little while.
Did you not strap them?
Huh?
Were they not strapped down?
No. They're not strapped down. They're on cinder blocks. So yeah.
Well, some people aren't that smart, though. If they see a strap on it, be like, I can't kick that over, even though it's sitting on blocks, right?
Well, I could see. I didn't look hard enough, see if like somebody got off the ATV and just kicked the hive over, because stupid teenagers be stupid. But yeah, like it's my only like healthy hive in that apiary. Like it's the strongest, and it got knocked over. It's weird. Like the two apiaries are like opposite mirror image of one another. The basswood apiary is crazy. It's exploding, and there's 1 or 2 small hive.
You should do like Brad did and buy one of those game cams with the that's got a SIM card in it. So every time it picks up a photo, it sends it to the internet to the internet, since you don't have a cell phone.
I could get it through email, I guess.
Yeah.
And that way, if something happens or somebody walks in front of it, that you see who's around there fooling with your bees. And then at least if you got to go to the police and say, look, this kid damaged $1,000 worth of hives.
There was no damage to the hives, thankfully, and no animals got in them. So I just propped everything back up. But I don't want that to repeat. So on Monday, I'm going to go look at the squash field. Besides, I won't get any strawberry. Even if I leave the bees there, I won't get any strawberry honey. He's leaving the field fallow this year.
Yeah, but you'll get all the wildflowers and stuff that grow in the field.
It's an amazing place. Like ease of access is incredible.
There might be another magical basswood around there.
Well, basswood is pretty common over here, but yeah, I can't stand like if that thing had like 4 or 5 supers of honey, it would have shattered all over. I can't have that. It's too much honey.
Lee said no damage this time, but there's still more work for you.
Yeah, that's why I want to move it. If access is just as good on the
Does it
squash
still have
field,
a queen, or did the queen get killed?
there were eggs. I looked it up, so there was a queen within the last 3 days.
Good.
If they kill the queen, they can make another one.
Charlie, what you been up to?
I was working in the bee yard when you called today. Went through it all, and most of it, except I worked on it Wednesday, like the big hives. I didn't open them up and check the nukes and stuff. I had some of the nukes where they had requeened themselves. So you had slabs of brood in there, so I had to pull 3 or 4 frames out of each, or at least a couple frames out of each hive, and put them someplace else. Put them in some of them. I put them in some of them new deeps that I've had. Added a super here and there on a couple.
So you've come to the dark side. Before long, next year you'll be like, I decided to go all deep.
I don't know about that.
Well, he's got the hive lifter now.
He's got the hive lifter now, so there's no need to save your
hive lifter. Is I have to have the hive. It's gotten to the point where, that's a necessary tool out every time you go there.
Yeah.
Basically, this was a look and see, make sure everybody had a queen, and I did find one nuke that was, even though I had put a queen in there, it didn't take.
I would keep that hive lifter over in the kiln building back there where where you got the tractors in the back. That's where mine would be, because it's right next to your apiary, and they would have to go way deep into your property to see that, and by that time they'd get some buckshot. So
but so anyway, I went through them, and I had a couple of the zombie queens that I kept. Some of them had died, and there was this one. And anyway, I put her in a queen cage with some candy in it that I happened to have in the truck, and I threw her in that hive that didn't have a queen.
I'll be right back, guys. I got to run.
Hopefully, she'll take or whatever. And then there was a couple places where I was surprised. Some of the newer hives had really been packing some honey away. So I added a super to that. And, I found one where I transitioned them to medium frames, and the queen's down in there. And I said, it looked like a lot of bees, and I added a second medium, but they wanted to pack honey in that. So I said, the hell with it. I just put a queen excluder on. I put a honey super on top of that. And then I put that deep frame to let them, get rid of those deep frames so I can cycle them out and that kind of stuff. So it's more of a process type thing. I mean, like I say, Wednesday, it's like right now. It's here in the evening, and now it's raining again. And I went up to the grocery store and was coming back, and I happened to see a poplar tree alongside the road. Here's the big old blossom. So now the poplars and the locusts are blooming at the same time. And the older guys used to tell me that one would, locust would come in, then poplar would come in. And I don't know. Now it's all coming in one time. And it seems to be about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And then you got as I call it, the locust rains. Every time it blooms, here comes the rainstorms to wash everything away. So I got some honey. And one thing I've been noticing, like I had one hive where I put the brood chamber up on top. That was several weeks ago, and I wasn't able to get back, and they packed it all full of honey. And then there was a super down next to the queen excluder. And I don't think it was full of honey. And I was wondering whether or not the bees prefer to put the honey upstairs all the way up to the top of the hive and not right at the queen excluder. So I got one set up where it's right at the queen excluder that's empty, and one it's got an empty super up on top. So who's going to, whether the hive's going to finish that super out, which one's going to get filled first. If it fills the one on top, that's even better, because all I got to do is just take the lid off, put a super on, and we'll keep on walking. And of course, a Brad or something like that, it's got 150 hives. That's what they do anyway. So, and I've read, they say it doesn't really matter. So, I don't know. That's pretty much where I'm at. Biggest problem, the big problem is the weather. Like say right now, it's not just, it threatened rain all week. I went out there every evening, Monday evening, Tuesday evening, working on transferring the hives from deeps to mediums and things like that I had in nukes and wooden nukes, and then got all those different things done. Added some supers along the way. And it was threatening, it's supposed to rain Thursday. So I went out there at noon, took my lunch hour, and I went out there and checked all the big hives that were producing honey for me. And that's why I didn't get into them today. That and the fact that my hips were killing me. And
too much dancing?
No, it's a lower back issue type of thing. Just the hip muscles are just, they were, I'd bend over and do things and walk.
I know what
they're tense and they just ache. And I've had lower back problems. It doesn't feel like a lower back problem for some reason, but
you need that belt, Charlie.
Something. I know one time this week, I quit taking my cholesterol medicine because I had previous issues with one of the other methods out there. And that stuff will make you feel like you're 100 years old. And it just makes you ache all over. Quit that within the next morning. And then the next day after that, I felt way better, as far as achy shoulders or arms going numb when you're sleeping and stuff like that.
I need to call everybody out. We got 68 people on here right now, 4 people in the stream, including myself, and nobody has said, Bob, you shaved your beard. Not one person.
Bob, you shaved your beard. I just noticed.
I mean, you didn't have a beard last time I was on a stream with you. It's been what?
That's your fault.
And you're letting your hair grow long. You're letting your hair grow long. You need to get another haircut.
Shave it down to the wood again. There you go. There's Jack in today. Bob, you shaved. Yeah. But yeah, so I think this week, probably Monday, I think I'm ordering my creamer. So get back to it.
Yeah, I've been thinking of getting one. But because I just cleared all my beekeeping debt, like it's all at 0.
Yes, I am cigarette free still since last October. So
it's getting a creamer is expensive, and I gotta get that sanitary course also. I haven't checked the prices for that. It's a 3-day course, I think, 12 hours, and I gotta take it.
That
where are you gonna sell that, Alex?
Huh?
After you get your sanitary certification and all that kind of stuff, where are you gonna sell your stuff at? In the stores?
Probably. There's the owner like of the strawberry field offered me to sell some honey, but he never called back. He said like it's a business, him and his sister. And my guess is they think I have a cell phone, and I told him like it's a residential phone.
See there, Alex. Got to get a cell phone. Get rid of your landline and get a cell phone.
It's
I know it's more expensive up here, but it's like my son says. With his phone, he's got a headset on all the time. He said that's his lifeline to his business.
It's true.
Constantly ringing. I need hay. I need hay. You know,
Yeah,
whatever.
just,
That would be like, I need honey. I need honey. I need cream honey, Alex.
I've been thinking of getting a table and do what Bob does. Even
what?
though I'm in the dead end, could try it on Sundays. It's not like I have anything else to do besides just being bored.
There's people coming in and out of your building, right?
No. It's a 3-apartment building, and there's no downstairs neighbor. So there's only 2 tenants, me and upstairs neighbor. I mean, sometimes there's people coming through my street to make U-turns, and they use my driveway because it's connected to the neighbor's driveway. It's like basically one large driveway, so every like large vehicle comes in my driveway to turn around.
I don't know what the rules are where you're at, but here, if there's like on a main road, if there is a dead, like a shop that went out of business or something, people will park in that parking lot, and you'll see everything from tennis shoes to food trucks to T-shirts, flowers, whatever, parked there with a table where you can just come and buy your stuff. But I don't know if they have to have some kind of permit.
The road is pretty small. It's like a minute to go one end to the other, and like I said, it's a dead end. There's like 6 houses. It's about.
I'm just saying, like if I left here going back towards town, there's a Walgreens and some other stuff, but there's one little pull-off parking area right there, and people just set up tables and tents and everything and sell stuff. And I know they're not paying rent for the place because they'll do that in an old Walmart parking lot or an old wherever. If the business is no longer there, they'll set up, and it's kind of crazy. Seafood like shrimp or whatever, they'll sell it there. So I don't know if they have to have permits or what, but they do it.
Well, like I said, like a fold-up table is not that expensive, so I could go grab one at Costco tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I got mine at Walmart. I bought a new one today, $47.
Because now that I don't have interest to pay anymore on my credit margin, like the cash is starting to pile up again. Finally,
this is
Don't you have a table now, sir?
Huh?
Don't you have a table or something in your house that you could use?
My workstation is on there, and it's too much of a hassle to take all the computers and monitors.
Nah, that's not what I'm talking about. You don't have a little table or a folding table or anything?
No. Well, I do, but there's, like I said, my job workstation is on that table.
Okay.
Well, I got to giddy up, guys. My daughters are going to come by and pick me up for dinner at 6:30, so I got to change.
All right. We'll talk to you later, Todd.
Already.
Have a good night, Todd.
Everyone have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you later. See you.
See you.
So, Alex, you have a church or anything in your area? Go ask around there. I bet they could help out.
Yeah, there is a church about 10 minutes walk from my house.
Tell them you'll convert, so you can.
All right, I gotta ask you, why do you convert everything into 10-minute walk from my house? You have a freaking car. It's a 2-minute car ride or a 10-minute walk.
I've walked for 40 years of my life. It's just the way I think.
That's the benefit of having a car. You no longer have to do that.
Alex, I was able to make room for the sugar. No, I just made 2 separate piles because I didn't want to go through the floor. I put one pile of 15 bags in the storeroom and one pile of 15 bags in my living room in front of my old TV. There's a sugar throne.
That's fun. Alex lives in a 15-minute city or town.
Well, it's pretty small, actually. There's only 80,000 inhabitants over here.
80,000?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need but a few of those thousands to buy your honey, and you'd be sold out.
Yeah, I don't want to get too popular because I don't have all the permits. That's the thing. Like somebody that
When they, I didn't know anything about that. I just thought
yeah,
I
but
could.
like over
I
here,
thought
there's
this was a free country.
over
I
here,
thought I
like
was in
if
the
somebody
United
does,
States.
can I finish talking?
Yeah.
Okay, over here, it's more than common that somebody that wants to take your business down to report you to say the Minister of Agriculture out of sheer spite. Like there's a lot of sharks over here, so
I've
I gotta
seen-
be careful.
Bro, I understand. But I could not function myself being in fear of everything. I'm not calling a damn person. If I'm like, for what I do, I'm not calling anybody and asking anything about anything. I'm putting my honey in the jar and I'm selling it. If somebody comes to me, oh, I didn't know I have to do that. Okay, no problem. But nobody's going to show up. Do you think the Minister of Agriculture is going to come to your apartment and ask you about your honey? Probably not. Now, if you're in a grocery store or you're selling it to a restaurant or something like that, well, now it's your honey's being used in a retail environment, maybe. But selling it person to person to person, if that's the case, there would be no drug dealers.
I am lucky though. The road I live on is zone commercial because there's two businesses, like just
What difference does it
two
make?
building overs.
And what does that make to you? Why worry about that? Just get out there and sell the damn shit. Put your table up, honey for sale.
That's it.
Don't worry about all that stuff.
What are they going to do? If they say something to you, they would probably
that sign over there. It's spelt in French. I don't know how to read French.
And then they hear his accent and be like, bullshit.
No, he speaks good English. He's a transplant from the U.S.
What I'm saying is, in the States, if you're in a violation of something, they will send you a warning letter or a comply. You have this long to comply or something like that. It might be different in Canada.
My dad used to work in a place where he would sell bottled water, and they dropped by and told him to stop. So my guess is that would happen. I wouldn't get in much more trouble unless I persisted.
Yeah, but when they identify the problem, they'll tell you what you need to do to fix it, and then you do something about it.
So was he bottling the water, or did he buy?
Yes,
the
he was
water?
bottling. There was like a spring there in the city, the village where he was. It was a public spring, and he was bottling that water. He had it tested, so it was safe, but it didn't go through all the procedures.
I guess what I'm saying is there's a difference between just totally disregarding the law, and the other thing is searching out the law, right? It's like saying, hey, Mr. Policeman, I was thinking about selling cocaine in my front yard. Is that okay? Oh, no. Well, what's wrong with that? It's like if you can find a reason to not do something. That's simple. It's very simple to say, I'm not going to do that because I need to call this guy. Well, I couldn't get that guy because he was on vacation. So I'll call that guy again next week. Well, I forgot because I got tied up at work. So I'll call that guy next week. And then before you know it, months and months and months have gone by, and you're still sitting on the Great Wall of Honey in your apartment. So I'm not trying to call you out. I'm trying to motivate you, sir. Let's go. Let's do it. You got to get it done.
I get it. Get off your ass and go sell some honey.
Exactly. But I wasn't going to tell you that. I'm glad you brought it up, though.
Trying to spare my delicate feelings.
Well, everybody is different on things. Yeah, there you go. Brian C. says, if you're worried about it, you can just figure out a way to do it that makes you feel comfortable. But see, here's the thing. some things, like where I'm really comfortable speaking with people, some people are not comfortable with speaking with people. So it doesn't matter what that sales process is. If you have to talk to people, then.
Well, I liked how Corey, remember the guy, he was there like a month ago, I think.
Corey Stevens?
Corey what?
Corey Stevens?
I think so. He's from Cornwall. You guys had him.
Oh, yeah, Corey from Canada. Yeah.
Yes, like the guy only sells wholesale. Like I looked up his business, and there's no info on it. It exists. That's all I could find.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is he only sells wholesale, but
he's got 300 hives or so.
He also works full-time still, as do you, but you're looking to not work full-time. You're looking to do bees full-time, right?
Yeah.
So you have to come to grips with, if I'm going to do bees full-time, no matter what you do, you got to be able to get rid of that honey. Otherwise, your brother's old bedroom, you might as well move all the furniture out and just start playing Tetris, stacking them up. And hopefully the door opens out to the living room so you can close it when it's done.
Yeah, but by the time he gets that done, it'll be down in the basement.
Through the floor, yeah.
You know,
your landlord hate you.
But yeah, so I mean, and well, Facebook, yep. Can't you do Facebook Marketplace? Make them come to you. That's another thing.
They come to me all the time. I got a text right now.
Facebook.
I've got 12 pounds of honey a woman wants to buy, $120 for her.
Here you go. Ohio, you can only sell your honey and blend 30% into yours. But there is no one to come check and enforce it. There's no inspector. I mean, Canada's a little more strict on their inspectors and stuff like that. But I mean, I get it.
Maybe if I were in a more rural area.
Well, I mean, we live where we live, right? So, I mean, I didn't start bees until I was here. But we have markets and stuff around here I could go to, but I don't, because that's not my thing. And I've kind of been able to live by a philosophy up to this point was, I'm not in a rush to sell my honey, right? It's for sale, and I will set my table out and I will sell honey. But if I sell $100 or, $10 or whatever it is, that's fine, because I'll go trim my bushes or something else while the table's out there waiting on people to come in. But the thing is, here is all the guys that got 2 and 3 hives this time of year. They're honey rich, right? They got all the honey they're going to make, and they'll sell that out in a month. And next month, they're all going to be out, and I'll be the only one here that still has honey all year long, right? So I don't care. Well, I sell my honey for $15 a pound. Great. I hope you sell it all, and I hope you sell it really quick, because when that's gone, you're out, and I'm still here. So I'm changing that, though. Changing that. We're going cutthroat. We're going to sell as much honey as I physically can pump out of the table this year, and out of my house, and out of the internet, and anywhere I can sell it, I'm going to be selling it. Because my law says I can sell 4,800 pounds that they know about, 4,800 pounds. And my goal is to get as close to 4,800 pounds as I possibly can sell. Beg, borrow, steal. Well, not steal, but beg, borrow, buy, whatever it takes to sell 4,800 pounds.
Buy it or steal. There you go.
Oh, I
sell it.
I can buy honey all day long for $3 a pound. Now I have to jump through some hoops to go get it or whatever, but
you have to have a forklift.
But ketchup chips.
Yes. Well, I'm expecting a pretty big crop this year.
Yeah, it's about 55 gallons worth.
About 55 gallons worth. Should be more, hopefully more than that. So
yeah, I don't know if you've seen my video, my latest video about my hives, like they're Ian Stepler hives in the Basswood Apiary. The population is insane. When I added the second box, it was 10 frame of bees across like 11 of the like
Immediately went up to
13
it.
boxes. Like, yeah, they went up instantly.
Yeah, that me too, Tom. I'm expecting my best honey year. Now, with that being said, I also have a friend of mine that's having a best honey year as well. And he's already called me and said, hey, I'm going to have 10 extra buckets of honey. Would you like them? He's right across town. Is it local honey? Absolutely. Do I trust a beekeeper? Absolutely. I'll buy every bucket he wants to provide me.
But the main thing of it is that Bob has changed his what do you call it?
Business model or
management practices of his hives this year.
Yeah,
They're not stripping the damn hives of bees. You're letting them alone so they can get big and make honey.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. If you look at the live video today where I'm taking a shot of the apiary, ground zero hive that was the dead colony last year that I put the Appy tablet on, it's got 3 deeps and 3 mediums on it. Now, how much honey comes in a deep, guys?
In a deep?
If a deep's full, 70 to 100 pounds?
I don't think it's 100 pounds. It might weigh 100 pounds, but it's probably 60 pounds, maybe.
60,
right, so
70 in a deep?
Yeah.
We'll say 60 to be on the low side. So 60 times 3. How much is in a medium?
30.
30. So
30,
that's
45.
Plus we got 90 more pounds. That's 270 pounds if those all get full.
That's good.
On the low side, right? So some of those boxes may be heavier. Some of them might be, and that's 1 of 50. So last year, my entire honey crop was 628 pounds for the whole year, all my colonies. And oh, not only that, it was actually less than that because 2.5 gallons was a tax for harvesting somebody's honey. I extracted it and uncapped it and all that, and 2.5 gallons what I got off of that. So
12 pounds to gallon.
Yeah, so it's
24, I'll say 25 pounds of honey.
25 pounds of honey. So 600
600 pounds.
So now I'm looking at one colony with the potential of 270 pounds of honey on it. And here's the main difference. I did not split the ever-loving crap out of them. Yeah, I know. Don't count my honey before they hatch. I know. But as far as compared to last year, that's one colony. I've got at least a double deep on, in which one being a single brood, one being a honey box, right? So on everything, most of them have 3 mediums or 2 deeps on top of the brood chamber. So even if they don't fill all those up, it will be a better honey year than last year. It can't be worse. Well, I guess it could if they all died tomorrow, but I mean, the odds are it's going to be much better.
Well, I hope it is.
So, I mean,
like,
but
I'm curious,
the main
do you
thing
want
I
to
did,
be a full-time beekeeper, Bob?
well, right now I am a full-time beekeeper.
What?
I don't have a job anymore.
Okay.
So the thing is that the main thing is I did not do like everybody did or does. I'm not trying. I stopped going for that number. I don't give a shit if it's 10 hives. If it makes me 1,000 pounds, that's a win. Why would I take 10 hives that could make me 1,000 pounds and split them and make them weaker, and then split them again to make them weaker, and split them again to make them weaker? So I get 100 hives that 50% of those are going to die over the winter, and then I got to go back and build them over again next year. All I'm doing is limiting. I'm increasing numbers, but I'm limiting the amount of honey that I'm getting because I'm keeping those just strong enough to make a little bit of honey and just weak enough to not make it through winter. So, you know, and that's different this year. All the other years it was, well, I want to get to 50 hives. I want to get to 75 hives. I want to get to 100 hives. None of that matters.
If they
The
don't
number of colonies does not matter. It's the amount of honey you harvest that matters.
Yeah,
Because
that
the
tastes
honey
really
is what provides the money. Nothing else provides the money except unless you're selling nukes, and that's a different business model, right?
or packing.
Or packing, which I'm leaning more towards the packing side, guys. To be honest with you,
Well, you can
that's
still
my
keep
goal.
some bees.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop keeping bees, but I am going to start going towards a packing model.
Well, there's more money from what I learned from Bob Binney. There's more money to be made in packing than just straight up beekeeping.
Bob Binney makes most of his money from packing.
They make all their money from packing.
I mean,
He's buying $1 million worth of barrels of honey.
yeah, you
That's
got to
great.
sell the honey. If you don't sell the honey, it's a
He's
broken
selling
model.
it through what is it? Not
Walmart.
is it Walmart and Target? And he's selling local honey to beekeepers. He's selling. He's got his handling
Personally,
supplies.
I have no interest of getting that large of an operation. Sorry.
Well, that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it's farming, right? I mean, we're farmers. And it goes up and down, up and down. So yeah, 1.2 million pounds of honey is what he sold. So
it's crazy.
Bob Binney's not a broke man. He's a smart guy. You know, it doesn't take long to realize that
Kroger, that's it. He sells to Kroger.
That making last year I sold out honey. Sold out. Everything I made I sold. Matter of fact, every year that I've been beekeeping, I've sold all of the honey that I've made. No carryover, no excess, having to get it from other beekeepers. I'm already was in the packing mindset, but I just wasn't scaling that, right? I was only doing my thing with what I've got. Now, the problem
We're
is
mostly focused on numbers of beehives.
Right. So the thing is,
for the last year since I've known you, or 2 years,
you can only do so much physical work. That's it. When I get out there and it's 100 degrees, I'm not working 50 beehives. Not happening. I'll work maybe 4 or 5 beehives and then take a break and come back and maybe work 4 or 5 more beehives. But I've got a heart condition. I'm not standing out in 100-degree heat, sweat through and getting dizzy and everything else. Ain't happening. So, there's a reason why the people, all of the big beekeepers, all of them. I mean, when you think big beekeepers, Ian Stepler,
I've seen 20,000 operations.
Yeah. But Ian doesn't want to process honey. He sells all his honey to the co-op. Maybe a little bit he keeps back, but most of the honey he sells to the co-op, right? Yeah. Bob Binney, he makes honey, but he buys a ton more honey than he makes. Tons and tons more, actually, if you want to be literal. Because the money, I guess someone would say it, if I could give Charlie $5 and Charlie gave me $10 back and it was unlimited, I would do that as many times as I possibly could. Right? How many times, if I gave you $1, or if you gave me $1 and I gave you $2 back, Alex, how many times would you do it? As many times as you freaking could, right? That's honey packing. That's what it is. I give Charlie $3. He gives me honey. I sell honey for $10. Then I buy $7 more worth of honey. Then I sell it. You know what I'm saying? It just, if you do the math, okay, I give Charlie 200. Customers give me 600. I give Charlie 600. The customers give me 1,800. I give Charlie 1,800. The customers give me 3,600. You know what I mean? It's just flip-flopping the money. And I love keeping bees. I'm going to keep bees. But I don't need to keep 1,000 hives to make money with bees. And I can enjoy the beekeeping on the scale that I want to keep bees. And don't, if I want to, I see people do it all the time. Oh, I got 4 hives. Well, what are you doing? I'm going to Nashville this weekend. It's bee season. How can you go on vacation for a week or two in the middle of bee season? Oh, well, I've got 4 hives. It's no big deal. I just work them and come back in a few weeks and come back again, But the thing is that you've got to, if you're putting in the work, that work's got to return eventually. I mean, when I told this kid today, it's like, I got every bit of $50,000 in equipment. I said, he wanted to learn how to keep bees. I said, perfect. Come over. I could use some help. I'll show you some things. If you want to buy some bees and equipment, I'll sell it to you. We'll get you started. And not a problem. I said, next year, when you realize how expensive a hobby it is, you'll come right back and buy your honey from me, and we'll never, no harm, no foul. It's just,
I stumbled on a beekeeper that's similar to me, like started beekeeping from, like, having watched a few videos on YouTube, and the guy was really ill prepared. So I just gave him 2 advices. Varroa, small hive beetles, control those. Here's what you can do to do that. And he's got 1 hive. It's it's kind of funny seeing like the mistakes he makes. But I did my best. Like, I want the guy to succeed. So, like I said, I built up a list of beekeepers that are good for newbies. Told him about Varroa and small hive beetles. The best treatment for him in his situation, like right now, is the best time to treat for Varroa because there's no brood.
Well, you see, Hanley's coming here, but see, that's the problem. It says you have to make that decision first. Well, I mean, it's like everything, right? You start. Oh, I want to get.
I disagree with that. I did not get into this to be a sideliner. I grew into it.
Yeah,
when I started I was like, who the hell buys honey? And I got into it, and then I started selling. I only had, like you say, a couple buckets of honey. So we're talking 100 pounds, maybe.
You sell out in a month?
Well, I sold out whatever it was at the time. I was peddling it. And, well, I mean, I wasn't selling like I am now, but I said,
But you don't push your honey either. You got a sign at your mill, and they know where they come to get it. And over time, it's built up. Just started snowballing.
And then I had a guy up on the other hill over there go out of business, and he pointed everybody to me. And I got people coming a half an hour, driving a half an hour, passing a whole shit ton of beekeepers to me, because that guy said, this guy's got real honey.
Well, Mr. Sam came over today. He likes to come over when I'm selling honey, and then he tells people how much better his honey is than mine, right? Trying to.
Oh, Sam?
Sam, yeah. And I said, well, that's his opinion. I said, and I told Sam today, I said, I don't care, Sam. If you could sell your honey, you're going to make your honey. You're not going to make near as much honey as I am. And you're going to sell out in a couple months. And the rest of the year, you're going to be sending them over here like you do every year. And they're going to be buying my honey. But the difference is Sam sells nukes, lots of nukes, right? So he makes his money in the spring, and I don't. I make a little bit on nuke sales. That's his business. Where I make the money on the honey. So it's not the exact same model, right? It's like like we were talking about with the honey earlier. What makes your product different from everybody else's product. Is Sam's honey and my honey that different? No. I mean, he's 4 or 5 miles, right? It's not that different. We got the same plants growing around us. So it's so that doesn't really set anything different. And it's but he doesn't do creamed honey. Not at all. He doesn't do hot honey. His prices are higher than mine. And he keeps saying, I think you need to raise your price. Well, maybe. I could probably raise it a little bit. But you don't see 5 cars at your place buying honey right this second. I got 5 sets of people sitting there buying honey from me in my front yard. So something is going right,
Yeah, that's right, Darren.
Charlie does have good taste in honey.
I have a lot of people comment on that. And of course, I cure a lot of people too of allergies.
Yeah, you're a lot. I had a guy come today. This was funny. He showed up. He said, I heard. I thought of you immediately. He's like, I've got scratchy throat from the allergies.
Oh, yeah.
I heard honey is the trick. I said, well, that's what people say. I didn't say I disagree or agree with it. I said, that's what people say. And I said, but you know what? While you're here, let's taste some of this creamed honey, And he's like, oh, I like that peanut butter one. He says, yeah, I'll take the peanut butter. And I'm thinking he's going to grab a 1-pound bottle. He grabs a 3-pound bottle, right? So $40, boom, out the door. Have a nice day. It was just one of those kind of crazy days.
But it's been like the last 2 weeks for me here. It's, it used to be 1-pounders and 2-pounders and 1-pounders and 2-pounders. And I'll sell a 3-pounder once a month. And I track all this information on my computer.
I sold 3 of them today.
I sold about 8 of them in the last 2 weeks. Everybody coming into the mill is like, oh, give me that big one. Give me that big one. Give me that big one.
You know what I tell him?
I asked the guy, I said, why are you making the decision to buy this 3-pound? Oh, I buy it. So he was one of my regulars. That's all he buys. He said, every 2 months I'm coming in to get a 3-pounder.
Brian, I wish you would pop in here. This is your topic, bro. This is all about you tonight. And you're not even showing up for the show. You're missing the dance. But the thing is that when you're talking about the honey, especially this time of year, well, the last several years I've run out. So if you use honey a lot, you might want to get the bigger size before you can't get it. I know I'm going to have honey the rest of the year, but they don't. And then when they run out, I can buy another big jar. So it's like,
and fresh raw honey sells for double the price of regular store-bought crap.
Well, not here. Not here. The grocery stores sell it for $8-9, unless you go to Sam's Club or Costco or Walmart or something like that, where they sell the big bottles, 2 of them for like $15. I'm like, what are they doing?
It's sugar syrup flavored with honey flavor in it. It's from China, that's for sure.
Oh, you go to the one here on the counter.
That's your line right there, Alex. I said, well, we go up here to the store. I said, oh, you really like that China honey?
Yeah.
Like what? I says, look at the bottle. I says, start reading the label. 10% honey, 90% corn syrup.
I've seen the video of a guy, like, he mixes syrup, coloring, and then he adds honey flavor and mixes it.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is, though,
well, you look at the ones here, and it's a product of Venezuela, Argentina.
Tell them the facts.
All over the place. It still amazes me when someone says, well, where do you make this honey at? It happened today several times. Where do you make this honey at? And I turn and look like that, and I'm like,
I don't make it. I says, those bees up there make it.
It's the honey plant right there. It's the factory. And then, oh, we liked your colored boxes. That's the other thing. But it's my backyard, exactly. That's the thing is they'll drive right up and park right in the middle of them and get out and walk to the table. And it's like they didn't see anything pulling in. It's like you are literally parked in between beehives, and you're asking me where the honey's made.
Yeah, but they'll ask me, he says, where's your hives at? I said, right up behind the barn. They want to know. They want to know. They want me to authenticate the fact that it's honey and it came from my beehives and it's local and all that. I said, hell, you go up there to the barn, right around the corner. There's 30 of them up there. Now, if you get stung,
I can't do that.
It's your problem, not mine.
Right.
And that's all they have. They hear that. It's like, hey, I'm buying your honey. And then they taste it and they're like, yeah. I mean, it is good honey, I have to say.
I haven't tasted
They want to know it's local for sure. Good night, Lee. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you go to this. There's Brad. Bradley's back.
Hey, welcome back, Brad.
Everybody.
Howdy.
Sorry, I had
Hey,
to
we're
eat supper.
outside.
Well, now that Charlie's boot is out of Alex's ass about honey sales.
Poor Alex.
Yeah. And
Now, Alex, you were saying you live on a dead end street, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, is there a main highway out there at the end of that dead end street?
It's a high, yeah. Well, not a highway, but it's a main.
It's a main road.
Yeah,
where
you can't
everybody
stop on
travels.
the other side of
That's
that
in
road,
cars
though.
and trucks that go up and down, right?
That's
Yeah.
where
Is
you
there a
put your
place you
honey.
can set your
Stop
table
on
out
this
there and not being
highway.
on somebody else's property?
What?
Is there a place up there on that main highway that you can put a table up there that's not on somebody's front yard or something?
No. Well, it's all houses and.
What?
and
If they're not going to, can I put a table up here? I'll give you a free bottle of honey.
Yep.
If you'll let me sell.
Hey, Brad, how many times has the Minister of Agriculture been to your place about your honey sales?
This many times.
Okay.
Okay. Alex is finding reasons, and I'm trying to, as fast as he's chucking them up, I'm skeet shooting them down, trying to.
I will give Alex this, that his provincial regulations are quite restrictive and draconian. They're not friendly at all. So he's definitely got a tougher situation than I have or Corey has, or so that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We need to get a bunch of those Amazon drones that can hold about 60 pounds worth of weight. And then I'll just order all your honey, Alex, at $3 US a pound. And we'll send it all down here, and I'll label it as genuine 100% Canadian honey. So you're not lying.
Like a drone going over the state lines.
Yeah, so that's so the border doesn't stop me. And what's on the buckets?
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good model right there.
Everybody wins. You're not $3 US is $4 Canadian, right?
Roughly. It's about
That's
30%.
good price, right? If you could get rid of all your honey at $4 Canadian a pound.
That would be nice. Not as nice as forgot his name. Jeez. James gets about $6 a pound. So
James sells all of his retail though. I mean, he sells it all like I don't know where markets and stuff. I guess I don't know.
Well, then he sells like that. What is it?
Vineyard and
a bar or whatever it was that makes
the meadery.
Meadery. But then they wanted to Jew him down or something like that. So he said, the hell with that bullshit.
There you go. Demonetized just like that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anti-Semitic.
You're killing me now.
That's it.
yeah, I don't know if you were there when I mentioned.
Hey, that's the only money I get from the stream. There's no super chats on our
There's
stream.
no super chats.
We
No
go
wonder you
3 hours,
chat.
80 people watching, and not a bone, not a dog biscuit tossed out. You know, for the golden nuggets of information that people
kind of guests you have on, I guess. Listen to the way they talk.
Right, Brad, I've been meaning to ask you: have you ever had vandalism problem with your hives? Because today, when I came back from my strawberry field apiary, some kid used his ATV to knock one of my hives down. So I'm gonna have to move the apiary.
No,
Yeah,
just a bear. No, that's I can't even say the words that I think about somebody who does that.
Neither can I.
Bob will get more than demonetized if I say that.
Yeah.
I don't
I
get
got
it.
lucky because since he's leaving the strawberry field fallow this year, he offered me to move the apiary. Well, I said I don't really want to because it's a pain in the ass to move beehives in a Malibu.
In a Malibu.
Yeah, 3 hives at a time, fun. But now I called him when I came back and I took him up on his offer. So I'm going to move the apiary to
Oh, good old Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
You're the best.
I'll pop that up on the screen. Thank you so much, sir. You're my hero.
See, super chats do work on this channel. We all thought they did.
I thought it was disabled. I thought it was banned or something. Something was broke. I watch other streams, man, and it's just like people are. I think they got the money gun where they're just like shooting it over top of them. It's crazy. But
send Bob some love.
I'm so destitute now.
Let's all hug him.
I get other support though, guys. So I joke about it a lot. I do appreciate it, and I joke about it. But I know people buy a lot of like swarm lure and Appy tablets and other stuff. So I get it, guys. I get it. I poke fun.
Yeah.
There's now. I'll just do it like I'm not answering any questions.
Make it rain.
We're not answering any questions unless it's in the form of a super chat, like some streamers. Will I accept IOU? I put it on account of I ain't got no money. That's
put it on account. I ain't got no money. So there was a comment a little while ago who said that very kind bees. He said, glad to see all the nukes.
Oh, he's talking to Tom Sossman, I think.
No, he said to me, Brad, glad to see the nukes. So
that's last year's photo behind him, if that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, this is last year's photo for sure. I thought you were maybe talking about the.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because you ordered your first Appy tablets from the company as compared to me. So instead of helping us both out, you only helped him out. I get it.
Well, he learned his lesson. He's not buying from the company anymore. He's buying from Todd.
Now he's buying.
Charlie just went poof.
He might have bought them from Todd. I don't know. Todd's got some. And he's west of the Rockies, so it probably actually is cheaper shipping for him to you than me to you. But whatever. I appreciate everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, that new comment, I thought it was because he was watching the vlog or something, saw all the nuke boxes that I made up. That's all.
I've been meaning to ask you, Brad.
Sell them a bottle of honey too.
What's that, Alex?
Since I won't be making as many splits this year, will adding a second super contain, or will I have to control swarming by removing brood from some of those hives?
No, what you do, if you do it like I did it, which Brad will let.
Well, if you ask Bob will tell you.
So what I did is that second deep, I moved the brood up into the second deep. I put drawn comb back in the bottom. I put the queen excluder over the brood chamber, right, with all the bees down there.
Freudian slip.
So the bees will come back to the brood chamber, to the brood that I've got up there, and that's less populated in the brood chamber now, right? And the queen has plenty of room to lay. And then when that hatches out up top, they'll backfill it with honey.
That's what I was thinking of doing, because I can't make as many splits because I need roughly 10-15 queens to replace what I've lost. Maybe with because I'm counting 9 that I absolutely need to, and two, there's a few resource hives. But the excess queen, I'm thinking of making a battery out of. But what Brad said I should do is put a second deep, and then just put the queen in the bottom one, queen excluder, and transform that second box into honey super. Or I could try and sell some nukes.
I agree with this statement, but the bees will lie to you.
Yeah, they will. They
They
definitely
will.
will. Okay, Alex, I want to start this conversation. I'm not going to give you your answer because I don't know your answer. But I think it's good maybe that we talk about this as a group, because we always talk about oh, my bee's going to swarm and what do I do about it? Well, you ask Charlie and he'll say, well, do a demery, and you ask Bob and he'll say, well, add more honey supers, and you ask, different person will say, do something else, right? Which they're all right. But the point is not what do you do to avoid swarming necessarily. It's understanding why are they going to swarm?
Not enough room.
Like what causes them to swarm? Well,
Wrong.
okay, flesh that out for me. Say not enough room.
Like if
Why do you like? What does that mean? Not enough room.
the queen doesn't have enough room to lay eggs, they'll tend to swarm.
Okay, that's correct. That's correct.
But the basic biologics is it's in their DNA to swarm.
Well, it's in their DNA to swarm because guess what swarming is? Reproduction. You ever try and stop an animal from, doing it? It's the birds and bees. Well, these are the bees, part of the birds and bees. Every animal, every being on Earth has the greatest urge, the greatest thing, the most important thing that they want to do is reproduce,
Including
right?
humans.
Including people. And that's what bees are doing. So they want to do that. So there's a lot of different manipulations. There's shook swarms. There's making the bees think that they've swarmed, and splitting them
I was
up.
just wondering if you think that might be enough, just adding a second super, and once the flow comes in, just dumping the queen down, putting a queen excluder, the second drone chimber becomes the first honey super, and adding supers on top of that. If that might be enough, because I can't make enough splits with the material, the equipment I have.
Well, get more equipment.
And
And
maxed
no,
out in
I'm
space.
absolutely 100% dead serious. If the reason that you can't do what you want to do is you don't have enough equipment, get more equipment. That's my answer. If you say, well, I can't make any splits because I don't have any, whatever, so I'm going to try to do something else that may or may not work, and my bees may or may not end up in the trees anyway. And because I don't have that equipment, I'm not going to actually make that split and sell it for $350. I'm thinking, get more equipment. And it doesn't have to be anything too special. It could be a pro nuke. Go get a jester box. Make your splits.
Right? Because invariably a queen will die or you'll accidentally smash her.
Put your little ad up saying, hey, I got 3 nukes for sale, $350 a piece, and somebody's going to on your door. You got bees? Here's my money. That is the best choice, in my opinion. Because it's guaranteed. If you do a split properly, you pull the momentum of that colony back sufficiently and properly, that's going to work. Will adding boxes work? I don't know, because I've kind of done that, and it doesn't really do the trick.
Okay.
It can, depending on how prolific the colony is and how razor thin their swarming urge is, perhaps.
I could split. I have the boxes. I just don't want to end up with 60 hives.
Well, is there a reason that you couldn't throw them in a pro nuke or a jester and put an ad up
Well,
somewhere and say, "Hey, come buy
27
bees."
nuke boxes. I have 27 nuke boxes. I mean, I could, like I said, it's not impossible. It's not that I don't have the equipment. I just, like I said, I want to know if adding a second brood chamber, and then once this honey flow starts, putting a queen, like basically restricting the queen to one box, if that's going to work, or if the population is going to be too big.
Okay, so
In your
you just asked.
experience,
So you just asked me if putting on a second brood box and restricting the queen to one box is going
once
to
the honey
stop
flow starts,
swarming. Okay. So normally in my apiary, and don't forget what my apiary looks like right now, so take my advice with a grain of salt. When the colony is growing and becoming very strong, I will add a second deep brood chamber. So it'll be a double deep, and it'll remain so until, late June, early July even. But I'm still going to take swarm mitigation measures. I was told early on in my career that in my area, and this is my area, not necessarily yours, that by May long weekend, I really only want to see 4 frames of brood in that colony. That's what I was told. And from what I've seen, that's kind of a good rule for me to go by. So that's what I try to target. Anything else comes out, goes into a nuke box. Either, I'm going to graft a queen or I'm going to buy a queen. I'm either going to make another colony out of that or I'm going to sell it. Something.
okay.
But you can't sit on that nuke too long, because once the season starts to progress a bit, nuke selling season is over.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't want to, because right now all my hives have a second, like all the strong ones have a second, like undrawn box of 10 frames.
Undrawn, did you say?
Yes.
Undrawn comb. Undrawn frames do not do them any good whatsoever. It has nothing to do with mitigating swarming. That will do you zero good to mitigate a swarm to put foundation above a brood nest. Zero. It has to be
That's all I can
drawn
do.
comb.
So...
It has to be drawn comb. Well, you asked me if it's going to work? No.
Okay.
Well, it will work for the bees because they'll be in the trees. Foundation is nothing. Swarm mitigation and foundation are two distinct things. That's a Venn diagram, and they don't intersect. There is nothing common between those two things at all. Ask me how I know. 60 colonies in the trees. My 3rd year. That's how I know.
Well, like I said, I do what I can with what I have. So
that's all we all do.
We all do. See a beekeeper and buy a little bit of drawn comb.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll try and contact somebody.
Well, that's also the philosophy of what I was talking about, how I bring the brood up, and some of it is undrawn up on the top. The bottom gets the drawn comb for the queen to lay. The top is getting foundation. So they're coming up there. If they have urge to grow that nest, they're going to start drawing that comb out. If you got, well, maybe not for you at this time of year, but for us,
maybe if they have nectar.
Yeah, if they have nectar.
Yeah, there's nectar. There's definitely nectar right now.
Okay.
Mark Miller says it. It's true. Healthy bees swarm.
That's right. What was Ian saying? He said if an old beekeeper told him that if some of the bees aren't in the trees, then the whole lot's no darn good.
Yeah. That's true. But it's true. If they're weak and not healthy and no good, then they're not going to
get a really roaring case of nosema going on in your apiary, and that'll keep them from swarming, Alex. I know that.
Wiping.
No.
Let me see. Trying to catch up. The comments fly by pretty quick.
So your honey boxes are mediums then, Alex?
Right now, my honey boxes, yes. I did buy 24 because I counted for the losses, 24 extra deeps with the frames. So what I did last week
I assumed that. I just wanted to confirm my assumption was correct, because I know this isn't your first season, and I know you've had honey harvest already, more than one, and you say you have no drawn deep frames, so that must mean that your honey frames are all mediums.
Yes.
You can put a medium up there. Put a medium drawn comb on it. They'll like that just as much.
Yep. And then
that's not a sin.
When it's I've got plenty like that. And then when it's honey flow time, shake them out, put the excluder on, put the medium back. Hell, Charlie runs all of his boxes in medium until this year.
Great.
So.
And I get all the reasons people say, "Oh, I have to have medium." I get it. I get it. However, until you experience having one size frame in your apiary, you don't get what that means, right? And I'm not saying you can use shallows if you want. I don't care. One size frame.
And that's why I have mediums.
Makes your life easy. Because, Alex, you would not be asking me that question. All you'd be doing is going get in a box of drawn comb, put it on top of that hive. That's all you'd do, right? It's easy peasy.
Well, see, Matt there has got about drawing the comb out. Well, they'll draw out when I guess the flow is running up there in his area in New York. But
yeah, there is a decent amount of nectar coming in right now. It's not a big flow, but there is.
So that's what's going to cause them to swarm, because they're putting that stuff in the brood chamber.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So here's an example. Those little 6s that I run 3 6s side by side. Put a couple of honey boxes on top of those. The absolute key to those things is having space above, because you don't want one drop of honey in that 6-frame box, because the colony's too strong. The queen is young and laying fast and hard, and when they start putting honey in that brood box, that's the end. They're out of here, right? So you gotta have that space up there. And I was too late. A lot of those swarmed on me last year, and that shocked me, because that's not normal. And I looked back at some of my videos and I realized, I was too late with the supers, and they were filling that brood chamber with honey. So same principle goes. Doesn't matter how big the box is. If they're putting honey in that brood chamber, it's go time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about like what Hope's saying there about same thing with Bob, with what he just said? If you're trying to draw wax on your deeps is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Alex, I'd do like I'd pull a frame of brood or a couple frames of brood up there. Put no queen excluder on and put the foundation on there, and they'll go up there and draw that wax out.
I'm for each hive, like 2 of them have a drawn comb, because I took the dead out, put it on top. But the other 8 have undrawn frames with one frame of open brood.
So you have
in this upper
20
chamber.
frames of drawn comb.
I have some, like I have
So
dead out.
you said you have 2. So you
Yes.
have 20 frames of drawn comb.
Yes.
And you need to split that among 10 colonies. I would split it equally. I'd put 2 frames of drawn comb in each of them. That'll give you
Okay.
something. Well, because 8 of them have nothing. Right? So that'll give them something. And Hope does have a point there that when you pull up a frame or 2, they don't like to have empty space or foundation outside of that. So they'll get to that a little faster than they might otherwise.
Yeah, that's why I put a lower frame in each of those 8 hives.
Yeah.
I pulled one frame of open brood in each of them.
Good. And I would split your drawn comb up among all of your colonies, not just on 2 of them.
Yeah, wouldn't the queen march up there and put some more eggs in that, Brad? Hopefully.
Yep, she certainly will.
And she'll draw the rest of the crowd up with her.
Yep. So when they have foundation next to a brood frame, they're far more motivated to get that foundation, But if they just have foundation randomly,
no, I knew that was a bad
that.
idea. Just plopping foundation there. That's why I put a lower frame in each of the 8 hives.
So you replace that with a foundation frame in the bottom.
Sorry, what?
So what did you replace it with?
I put that one undrawn frame in the bottom. Yes.
Okay. I would think that's a good move. Where did you put that foundation? On the outside?
On the 3rd slot from the side.
Okay. How did you decide that? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just walking through this.
Because I didn't want to put it in straight in the middle of the brood chamber.
Right.
But I wanted it next to brood and food. So there's food on the outside frames.
Yeah.
And brood, more brood the closer you get to the middle. So it felt like the right
logic is, there's I think there's something to that logic for sure. I think your logic to not put it in the center, that's a very good, very good decision. So put it where you put it or completely on the outside. Either way.
Yeah, and the lower frame, I put it straight above the center.
Sure.
So it would get the warmth from the bottom of the hive.
Yeah. I'll get those bees up there too. And seeing foundation next to it, they won't like that at all. So they'll be more motivated to get on that foundation. In fact, you have a little bit of a flow. Yeah. You're better off than certainly in a dearth. Like we don't have much flow here, even by May long weekend.
See that, Bob?
You what?
From Brian Castle.
Yeah, I already did. Yeah, I put him in timeout for 24 hours. So
Jimmy Breed, is that what he's?
Yeah, both of them, both of those 2 guys that showed up asking crazy questions. So.
Speaking of crazy questions, hey Brad, the reason why I popped in was
hey Robert,
how are you this evening?
Tired.
This year I did 35 3-frame nukes in 6 frame boxes. Now they're not stacked together; they're in the mating yard, so they're just randomly spread around the yard. But my question is how long do you typically leave them, or how long should I leave them in those 6 frames, do you think, before I start stacking them up with supers over the top of them?
So when you say 3-frame nuke, what do those 3 frames comprise of? Is that 3 frames of brood?
No, there's probably 1 frame of brood, and then 1 frame of food, and then one or two. There's two empty comb, and then I have two empty, just 2 foundations. So every box, what I did is I opened it up. I put a foundation, I put a food, 2 brood, and then an empty comb, and then a foundation. That's how I build them all.
5 frames.
Well, 6 frames. So probably missed
6
something
frames.
there. Yeah, 6 frames.
How long? It'll sit in that box a while if it's only 1 frame of brood. I don't know. It really depends on your area. I can't speak for your area, but you know they'll be a while, and the fact that they have a foundation frame, again, it
There's
depends on
2.
what they do with that, right? Yeah. Are they going to have flow to build that? Are they going to fill it with? Are they going to have flow and
Yeah,
fill
they're on a
brood
flow
chamber?
now. Yeah,
So,
they're on a flow right now.
You know, I'm just going to say you're going to have to watch that, because if they start filling that with honey, then that's not good. You need to have space for them. And again,
got-
drawn comb, right? That's
Yeah,
what you
well,
need.
there's four drawn comb in the box and two foundations.
Yeah, I understand. Well, 4 drawn comb, but one of them's a brood frame, one of them's a food frame. So you really got 2 frames of drawn comb,
Right.
like, available, and they're
And
going
we're
to
on
fill
a
those
flow,
with
so they're
honey
definitely
first.
bringing in nectar.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
going to fill that with honey. So I don't know. Again, they need drawn comb, so you're just going to have to watch that. I'm not going to give you any timelines on that.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of
I
every
was
season's
hoping
different, every configuration is different, every colony's different.
Right. I was hoping they'd get through the end of the month. Is what I was hoping. So by the time the queen starts laying and they build everything out and they're plugged out, I was hoping then by that point I'd be able to super them up.
You got a 5 frame nuke, you say, or 3
6
frames?
frames.
Six frames.
6 frame?
Yeah.
But it only had what you said: 1 frame of brood, 1 frame of food, and
And two drawn. Yeah. And they had the equivalent of probably 2 to 3 frames of bees in each one.
How long ago did you split it?
29th.
Well, it's going to take 21 days for those original bees to hatch out, right? So, or well, depending on what stage of brood they were, could be a week, could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks. But then you'll start noticing the difference in the volume of bees in there, right, as they start hatching out. So
now they're all cat brood. I didn't give any of them larvae, or heavy larvae, or eggs. I made sure they're almost all cat brood, so they're not going to be 3 weeks. They're going to be maybe a week.
Yeah, well, it's going to be
You
all.
just have to look into them, and when they're full, they're full, and then add a box.
Yeah, that's really the only way.
I was trying to leave them alone a little bit because I'm trying to get the queens mated and all that. So that was my goal, but I may have to dip in there
over the next 12 days. That brood is going to emerge, so you're going to ask, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to backfill that with nectar, or are they going to lay more brood? And that's one thing I would really keep an eye on. Go in there halfway, go in there 6 days and see what's going on. Are they backfilling that? That's the problem. If they're not, if she's relaying in all those cells that are freed up, then, you're still okay. They've got what they need.
Yeah, I'm just not used to using the little guys. So I'm used to using an 8 or 10 frames. So these 6s are going to be a new experience this year.
6 frame, 5 frame is all the same. You just have to look in there and see how they are. How when they get good and packed, then put another box on top.
Yeah,
that's all I do.
Yeah.
You can kind of judge it by the time, as far as a week or 2. But anything you can do is really look at them.
Now, one thing I did do this, which may not have been the best idea, but I kind of got frustrated with that cell builder. I had 3 colonies in that one cell builder, and they were just packed, just bursting at the seam. And I went around and I took a frame and I just shook it off, or one frame in front of each, not every nuke, but most of the nukes. I just drove by and shook off a frame, and then went up to the next one, shook off a frame. And hopefully because they're just, those mated queens have only been mated for a couple of days. So hopefully they didn't have any kind of conflict. But
well, they have to pass the guard bees, right? They have to pass the gatekeeper, so to speak. So,
yeah,
nurse bees usually don't have that much trouble getting
They're
in.
young. They're young bees too. So
yeah,
young,
that's what I was
if
hoping.
they're not young bees, they're not going to hang around there anyway. They're going to fly back to where they were. It's only the young bees hit the ground and have to crawl in.
Yeah,
They're
that's what I
much
was
easier to
hoping.
log with.
So, but I just gave them all a little bit of a boost because, they've been 2 weeks now, and I figured their numbers are going to be dwindling a little bit, and well, potentially. So I just gave them a couple shakes.
Sounds like a good plan. You just took the whole cell builder down?
Yep. Yeah, after that Virgin got in there, I just kind of I didn't even know what the heck was happening, but I had set that up a month ago, basically, and I ran 3 rounds through it. And when they tore all my cells down the last time, I just was fed up with them. So I just threw them on the back of the truck, and I drove around the apiary, and I just, every one, I just shook a frame. So one of them got a mated queen. I don't know which one, but one of them got a mated queen.
Well, guys, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. So I'm probably going to end the live and, call it a night. I appreciate everybody. A lot of good topics tonight, at least in my opinion, as far as marketing and honey sales and trying to increase your business at, whatever that is, whatever your business model is. And thank you for the super chats, everybody. Appreciate those. I want to make sure I pointed that out. Let's see. Make sure. Robert, thank you. Morris Homestead, Russell Koopman, thank you. Appreciate you guys a lot. And we'll see you guys on the next live stream. Good night.
Good night, everybody.